The Morristown Green, a central park echoing with the footfalls of Washington and his compatriots during the Revolutionary War, is not merely a serene escape, but a living testament to the town's pivotal role in shaping our nation. Morristown's history seamlessly intertwines with every individual who grew up there, creating a childhood rich in the echoes of the past and a vibrant spirit of community carried forward by each successive generation. These are their stories. This is Beyond the Green.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Green, where we talk about the people and places of Morristown. My name is Peter, Morristown High School class of 1990, and the Arizona's Desert Stanley Tucci is.
And I'm Superior Terry, Morristown High School class of 1987.
Well, folks, welcome back to another episode. First, we want to give out a great big thank you and shout out to Eric Phillips, who was the guest in our previous episode. The reviews are in. Everybody loved the episode. Eric's story over the last 30 years since graduate from longer than 30 years, but growing up in Morristown, going through to college and then becoming the evening anchor at ABC affiliate in Richmond, Virginia is a great, great story. And we want to thank Eric again for coming on the show. We also want to thank our viewers and our listeners for your continuous support. As always, we will ask you the way you can give back to us is if you can just click on the button below and subscribe to us and follow us and like all of our posts, not only on YouTube and wherever you get your favorite podcasts, but also coming on to our Instagram accounts and our Facebook page and liking us there as well. So here we are, last week of May. The year is just chugging along, where our first season here is slowly coming to an end. After this episode, I believe we'll have 4 more episodes, and our last episode is slated to end somewhere around July 19th. From there, we're going to take a small summer hiatus, and we will be back right around the 15th of September with season 2 and some more amazing guests coming on the show. I will tell you, last week I was in Morristown for about 3-4 hours with our good friend Bob Ginter. We finish off an episode that we started a few months ago. We basically, Bob took us around to some interesting points of interest throughout town, and he kind of gave us what I like to call Ginter on Ginter, his feedback and his knowledge on those specific sites. Now, the guest for this week's episode is Kelly Christmas. Kelly is a 1988 graduate of Morristown High School. She is also the proprietor of the Rock Box Boutique, which is located on the corner of South Street and Elm Street in Morristown. Some of you may have seen our promo that we did. Kelly is currently looking to sell the Rock Box as her and her family will be moving to South Florida. And if you are interested in purchasing the Rock Box, using her term or the way she put it, it's a plug and play boutique. Customer base is already there. All she's looking is for somebody to make it their own now. So we'll give you in the description below, you'll find all of Kelly's contact information if you're interested in buying the Rock Box. So guys, once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. So here's Kelly. Kelly Christmas, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Peter.
Kelly is a 1988 graduate of Morristown High School. Kelly, why don't you tell us a little bit about growing up in Morristown? So whereabouts in Morristown did you grow up?
So I moved to Morristown when I was 9.
Okay.
And we lived on Maple Avenue, so kind of right in the center of it all. And I walked everywhere. So I was very lucky, I think, to grow up right in town. And back then, walked around and explored every little street and avenue and knew pretty much everything.
So where did you go? So what schools did you go to?
I moved here in 4th grade, so I went to Thomas Jefferson for 4th, 5th, and 6th grade.
Okay.
And back then, Frelinghuysen was 7th grade.
Right. And
so then I went to Morristown High School.
So we always ask everybody, so when you were at Frelinghuysen, do you recall what section you were in? So like, were you 7-1, 7-2, 7-3, 8-1? Who were some of your teachers? Do you remember some of your teachers?
I don't recall that about Frelinghuysen. At Frelinghuysen or just generally speaking?
No, in Frelinghuysen.
Oh my gosh, why are you asking me about Frelinghuysen? I don't know. Mr. Sater.
Oh, okay, so you're in 7-1. That was 8-1. That was 8-1. Okay. Yeah, you did it. So you had like Mrs. Did you have Mrs. Bird? Do you remember her for English?
I don't remember Mrs. Bird.
Okay.
What was Bongo in? I think I was 7-1.
That was 8-1. Sateric was 8th.
Oh my God, okay. Mr. Sateric was the best. The Pausina game.
Exactly. He was like the biggest Kiss fan. He used to have photos across the room with like Kiss. Big into the rock scene. He loved rock music.
Wait, and Mr. Clemmer, remember him?
Mr. Clemmer.
Sex ed. That's right. He used to have those V-neck pink sweaters that he used to wear.
And the Capizios.
That's right. It was like if any teacher taught sex ed, that would be right out of Central Casting. It's like, how you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Well, yeah. Was Miss Burton at Frelinghuysen, or was that might have been a TJ? I don't know, but she was a lovely person. And funnily enough, this woman came into my store one day and we were talking about Morristown, and she must have handed me her credit card. I said, "Oh, Burton." I said, "Oh my God." I said, "There was this teacher in the Morris School District, and her name was Miss Burton, and she was the best." And she's like, "That was my mom."
Oh,
wow.
Oh yeah, and it was like this emotional moment for a second, and so I mean, you remember.
That's awesome. So where were you living before you moved to Morristown?
I grew up in Florida. I was born in Florida.
Whereabouts?
Lived there, and then in Lake Worth.
Okay.
Is where we lived, which is right next to West Palm. And then my mom is one of 9, and she grew up in Common Station.
Sure. Okay.
So when they got divorced, she moved us, my other 2 siblings, up here to be with, around.
Got it. So then after Frelinghuysen, we go to high school. So did you play any sports in high school?
No, I started working when I was maybe 13.
Okay. So it's kind of, it's one of those go to school, go to work type of things.
Yes.
Yeah. And we talked about, because you did work a couple of things off air. We talked about you worked at Bennigan's. And
I did.
And you worked at Argyle's.
I did.
And then you worked
in Haagen-Dazs.
The Haagen-Dazs.
Did
you say you worked at the Callaloo Cafe?
Oh yeah.
Right? That was a great place.
Yeah, oh yeah. I was a tub girl there. That was so fun. It was that was a, it was a good time. Yeah.
So, and we also touched base on how, Argyle's was reported as being haunted. And did you experience anything while it was haunted? I mean, it's a bank now, so.
They tore that building down.
Yeah.
So the property now stands big, but it didn't happen to me personally there because I wasn't. It was more the managers, the people that were counting the money and stuff on like the upper floors. After closing.
Yeah.
That's when all that stuff would be going on.
Gotcha.
And then I think they also attributed the failing business, because that was a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then, when it became Argyle's, then they tried to name it Phoebe's
Right.
and pay homage to the ghost, and that didn't work
Right.
either. So
Maybe it
I
was
knew
just
somebody who
a bad business model.
maybe.
You know, because I
I knew
remember.
somebody who
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I know somebody that had some of the chairs from when it was the Wedgwood Inn.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that is. And
Yeah.
then it was Society Hill after
Society
that, right?
Hill.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I think at one point in time, if you walked in there in the late '80s, early '90s, the guy's wardrobe was sponsored by Chest King.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's
I mean,
pants by
yeah,
pants by
it was the
Cavarici.
height. It was the height of the Guido era,
Exactly.
right?
Between there
Yeah.
and going over to
Chess King. I haven't heard that in a
yeah,
while.
and between there and going to what's that place called?
Wait,
Go
Terry, what about merry-go-round too?
What's
That's
that?
just
merry-go-round. She said merry-go-round.
merry-go-round at the Rockaway Mall. What place are you thinking of?
That's hilarious.
No, I was gonna say when you between that and Hamilton Park,
Oh yeah,
good times.
Hey, Hamilton Park was awesome.
Yeah,
Vanderbilt's was
that was
awesome.
yeah,
that was great.
yeah,
That was great. Yeah, that it seems like the bars were more fun back then, but I think we were just younger and were able to enjoy a good time
yeah,
a little bit more.
yeah. 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
So then, what happens? So you worked through high school. So what happens after graduation for you?
So junior year of high school, I actually moved to Virginia. My dad lived there, so I went and lived with he and my stepmother for the year. So I went to Wakefield High School down there for 1
Is
year,
that where you?
and then I came back.
So okay,
Mhm.
and then you came back for your senior year.
I came back for senior year, yeah, and then so after graduation, I actually moved back down there and went to a community college
Okay,
there in Virginia, Northern Virginia.
okay. So now you are the proprietor of the Rock Box on Elm Street.
Correct.
Now,
Correct.
why don't we talk about that? How long you've been there for? What mode? Why don't you tell people first what your business does?
So we are a retail boutique. We sell crystals and just a lot of gifts,
Uh-huh.
really. And the focus is on, good energy, positive
Mm-hmm.
vibes, giving things that, have meaning and heart to
Yeah.
them. So yeah, and I think that I've tried to really curate a piece that is a little more California
Mm-hmm.
vibe rather than a like woo woo metaphysical
Yeah.
vibe. So I just wanted it to be very welcoming to
Mm-hmm.
everyone and have everyone be able to find a gift and
Yeah.
you
Now
know.
let me just clarify. What do you mean when you say crystals? You don't mean crystal glasses. You're talking about what's sitting in front of you.
I'm talking about like crystals, yeah, like little healing, and
Right.
then there's fish. This is my husband's office, so these are like his little toys here. Yeah, I can't tell you the animals. So every time I go to a crystal show, I have to bring back an animal.
Okay.
So he's got a bunch of animals
Okay.
over there. So
Okay.
yeah.
But your shop, when I came in to see you at the shop, your shop is very zen and you
It
very
is, yeah.
zen. And you were kind enough to show me some of your pieces, and you do have an exquisite amount of pieces there. And like you said, there's something for everybody there. So, how long have you been there for?
We are in our fifth year there. We opened 4 weeks before we closed for COVID.
Okay.
So, that was obviously, I mean, how do you even, it was just you took it day by day.
Right. Right.
And so, a week in, we're closed, and all of a sudden have this platform in town. So I went to the shop every day, and I stayed in there with the door closed. I did Instagram sales, and then I collected fabric and got people to sew and people to drop off elastic and all of these
Okay.
things. And we made all these masks, and we delivered them, to the hospital
Oh.
and all around town to the businesses. And this was before, anybody had access to masks,
Right.
and everyone
Right.
was like, "Oh my gosh!" So that was really cool
Yeah.
that we used our business for it.
That's awesome. And so I just want to take just one step back. What motive, like, what was the driving force with opening this type of boutique store? Like, were you, did you have an interest in, like, in the crystals and prior to that kind of motivated you to open up this type of store?
I have always been attracted to and have had crystals for as long as I can remember.
Okay.
And everything about that metaphysical world, I'm like a moth to a flame. So,
Okay.
I have my husband and I have a lot of children, and everyone was here in the school district. So I said, I want to do something, and I love retail. It's just something I've always loved.
Okay, great, great. And so
Yeah.
you come out of COVID, you survived COVID, not you personally, but the business.
Yeah.
And how did that work out? Did you find, because of COVID and your outreach within the community, did you see an influx of more people coming into the store?
My store, I feel like created a little bit of a buzz because, Morristown is not the retail hub that it used to be.
Uh-huh.
So to get a cool store is, I think, really just everyone gets so excited about it. That brought in, 2021 was, I think, everybody's best year because everyone wanted to get out and
Sure.
spend the money, so that was great. I think I was just gonna say, but anyway, I know what I was gonna say. So, we were really focusing on much more on our social media back then.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a TikTok that went viral, and we were getting people from Connecticut, New York State. People were driving like 4 hours to come to our store.
Really?
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, we had like a line, and it
What?
was just from it was from this TikTok.
Wow.
And one of the girls that worked at the shop made it. The girls would just make these TikToks, and yeah, it was
That's
great.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talk about, we talked, when we met, you do a lot of traveling. Do you find now when you go travel, do you kind of look for crystals or something unique within that realm?
I do not anymore because now that I have a store, I do not buy them for myself in a setting that's not, you know, like if I'm in Tucson or if I'm in Denver at a
Uh-huh.
show, I buy crystals for my business.
Okay.
Some of which never make it to the shop that are here. um, so no, but if I see them, obviously I'm interested in them. I want to know how much they're charging.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Understood. Understood. But overall, in the shop right now, how many pieces would you say you have?
Oh, I mean, like hundreds. I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot. It's a pretty full store, right?
It definitely is. It definitely is. But like I said,
Yeah,
like one of my favorites that I saw that you had, and by the way, you do have a website as well, which
we do.
we'll show it on the bottom here. Um, if anybody's interested, because you do have a website where you can do online orders, right? People can order on the
You can,
yeah. And
yes,
so, but
yes.
like I said, your amethyst butterfly wings, they are amethyst, right?
Mm-hmm. They are.
Are absolutely stunning. Just
Thank you.
just stunning, just like you walk in there and it's like, I know you have them if anybody's interested, I believe they're photographed on the website.
I actually just sent a picture to someone
From
yesterday.
Okay.
from Brazil, if anybody's
Um,
wondering.
they are from Brazil, and here's the photo.
Yeah. Move it to the left a little.
And
And perfect. There it is.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
but these types of big pieces, I think if you either put it outside and put landscaping around it, or put a huge pot with flowers and plants, to hide this black,
Yeah. Yeah.
pole. it's just a vision that, kind of, I don't think a lot of people see when they look at those big pieces.
Yeah.
Because it can really become a part of, your
Yeah.
landscape outside or, something in your home.
Mhm.
But, you really want to make it as beautiful as possible.
Because you also have almost like the pillars as well there.
Oh, the
Yeah.
two, yeah.
Which are absolutely beautiful as well.
So it's interesting just because, that was just one piece, and it came out of a mine in Brazil, and they cut it in half, and they put the base on it so that they both stand up, but and here it's intact with its pair in Morristown, New Jersey.
Exactly.
Like, if you really think about it, it's like amazing. So I would never sell them separately.
And Kelly, I'm just amazed my brother knew where they came from. He never even seen them before. He's that good. I just have to say, he's that good.
Well, he lives in Tucson.
Well, yeah.
Right?
I mean, look at him.
That was going to be my question, by the way, as I assume you go to the Tucson Gem Show.
I do. I prefer Denver just because I like going to Colorado. But yeah,
it is what Coachella is, or those events where the private planes come in, is the Tucson. I think a couple of years ago they sold an Opal for like 2.3 million, and it's but it's funny with the geodes because they had, the last time I went a couple of years ago, you could go for $20 and you could pick a geode where it wasn't split, and it was sort of like you get, you pay 20 and you roll the dice on how good it is, and then you split it, and you could get some amazing pieces. But yeah, that's amazing.
Tucson is definitely the best. It's the biggest show. So when I'm coming, it's like, especially if I go alone, I just go to Denver because Tucson's so big that it's hard to do that show. You need maybe 5 days to do that show.
What when is that show?
February.
It's February?
It's Gem and Mineral Show. So they do some of the smaller shows start end of January, beginning of February.
Yeah.
When it's in town because I'm a big go out and eat fan. I think most of my friends in Tucson either own restaurants or work in restaurants. And that's when you get the crowd that comes into restaurants that feels like it's the first time in their lives they've ever gone to a restaurant. The type of people that come in. The type of people that come in and they go, I had a 6:30 reservation. It's 6:35. Why am I not seated? And they go, I know the owner. And you're talking to the owner when they say that, that kind of vibe. It's interesting. How about Sedona? That's another pretty spectacular place.
Sedona is spectacular. I believe Sedona is like a vortex, right? There's these several vortexes, which is a much longer conversation, and you can Google that, people. But yeah, Sedona is so beautiful. I love it there. I haven't been to Sedona since I was in my late 20s.
Tell your husband road trip.
I know. Yes, I will tell him that.
Because then you got to go to.
He's always looking for somewhere to go.
Listen, then you got to take the ride up to or the ride down to Superstitious Mountain. And are you familiar with Superstitious Mountain? We'll talk about it off here. But we'll talk about it later. But it's a great place. Great place. There's an old mine there that's still open, and you can actually go. And you pay like $20, and you can actually go and pan for gold there still, and you can get, like, you pay $20, and you get like garnets, you get flakes of gold, But it is what it is. But we'll talk about that later, So here we are now. You've been in business now for 5 years, but you're going to start making some changes in your life.
I am. There's a lot of big changes coming for our little Christmas plan.
So why don't we talk about that a little bit? And for all practical sense, we are breaking some news here right now. So why don't we?
We are breaking some news.
We are breaking some news. So why don't you talk a little bit about that? What's going on in the Christmas family?
So the Christmas family. So my husband and I are a blended family. We have 7 children between us. well, I say 5 are in college, but 2 just graduated this weekend. So,
The
so
Brady
this fall
bunch.
we'll have
Sorry.
4 in college
Yeah.
and 1 more in high school and 2 that have graduated.
Okay.
Anyway, so we are, and my daughter who's in high school actually went to boarding school. She's the only one of our children that did not go to Morristown High
Okay.
School. Which, you know, my kids are 3rd generation Morristown High School.
Right.
So anyway, we're going to sell our house, and our main residence is going to be in Florida. And my husband still works in New York City, so you know, we got to figure that out. But I think it's time for me to pass the rock box on. I'm just not going to probably be here enough, and it's worth a little more attention.
Yeah.
Me kind of flying around. So, but I was hoping for someone in Morristown, especially if anyone's looking to, you know, take over a business. It's a great business. We have we've created a pretty large community of supporters, and our staff have been with us a very long time. Well, you know, since most of them, or some of them, since the opening. So, it would be a great place to like take over a kind of a plug and play business. So.
Yeah. So again, I'll make the formal announcement here that the Rock Box is up for sale.
It is.
Preferably.
And
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and if no one steps up, the Rock Box is closing. I hate to say that because I think it's going to be a little heartbreaking for some people, but yeah.
So if anybody is interested in purchasing it, how do you feel about if I share an email or a contact information that they can contact you directly if they want to talk to you about the business?
Yeah, I mean, you can send us a DM on Instagram. I see all of those. There's also an email. It's just support@therockboxlife.com. Our website address is The Rockbox Life, so it's just support@therockboxlife.
Okay.
The word life, you know, the Rockbox is a bar in like Arkansas or somewhere, and so I had to make it a little different. So we added life because you know, this is about you know, having good energy in your life, and then we opened Annex, which was classes and workshops and all of that to kind of lend to the spiritual lifestyle. So that's why it has the word life.
Yeah.
So are you gonna open the same business in Florida?
So I am actually talking to someone who we are talking about doing this on a bigger scale, like a bigger scale as far as like just dealing with the larger pieces, and doing more of a gallery type business, and having featuring artists. Yeah, we just started talking about it. So featuring artists that deal and work with natural materials, so wood or, you know, crystals or glass, or because this woman who I'm talking to about this, her home, you know, when you walk into it, it just feels same when you walk into my home, like there's plants and crystals, like it changes the vibration of your home. And so, and it's very peaceful and welcoming. So I think that, you know, when you really focus on decorating your house that way, as opposed to, you know, the random piece from that's plastic or that doesn't really have any energy to it.
Are you gonna go hang out at Art? Are you gonna go hang out at Art Basel in Miami?
No.
No, she's West Palm, so apples and
I'm
oranges.
just saying because that's another that is too. I think that in Santa Fe have the 2 largest art shows in the country, but you get mixed media.
I've been to that. It's pretty
but
cool.
I've friends of mine, good friends of mine that also have friends of theirs that go and spend quite a bit of money in Miami every year to decorate their homes. So I'm interesting. I've never been personally, but it sounds like it's since you're going to be there.
Yeah.
Now
there's a lot of money in Florida.
Now the other question I have is: are you going to go ahead and just set up a subscription for bagels and pizza? Because let's just face it, you're leaving That's that. I live in Tucson, and I bring bagels here every now and then. First of all, I'm like a bagel mule when I pack them. I could sell them for
Yeah,
like $5 a piece.
I'm sure. I just flew to Texas last week, and I brought my sister a huge bag of bagels and cookies, those butter smiley face cookies from the Swiss Chalet.
Oh,
They're her
see, that's the
favorite
other.
thing.
That's the other thing I was going to tell. That's I'm jealous is the proximity that your store is to the Swiss Chalet.
Yeah,
I would.
Yeah,
I'm already diabetic. It would be very, very
yeah,
dangerous.
yeah.
that would be dangerous.
So Kelly, what's the time frame we're looking at?
Yeah.
I'd say if I don't hear from someone by in the next couple
Yeah.
weeks, I'm gonna probably start you know
What?
figuring out
Okay.
how we're gonna wind
Okay.
down.
Another thing, we kind of touched on this off the air. Do you want to talk about some stories you've had about people, the holistic properties that people would talk to you about, stories about buying things in the shop and how it helped them?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I did tell you that, over the 5 years of having this business, we have had a lot of really emotional and interesting stories and people come in. One woman came in and she was so upset. She'd come from Morristown, what's it called now? Atlantic Health or whatever,
Yeah,
at the
from the
hospital.
hospital. Yeah,
I keep calling it Morristown Memorial, but I don't think it's called that
that's
We do
okay.
the same thing.
Yeah, we do the same thing. Don't worry about that.
At least I'm not calling it all souls. I'm not that old. But she comes in and she says, I need to, I have something, I need to get something for my granddaughter. She's, she was having surgery for cancer. It was this awful thing. She's 18 months old.
Oh,
And I was like, how about something for the mom? Like, how about something for the poor mom? And so it's things like that where you're like, oh, some woman came in. It was like, 6 o'clock on a very rainy, chilly night, like one of those October, November
mm-hmm.
cold, rainy nights. It was pitch dark. And she comes in a tank top and she's sopped and wet. And she is like, I just moved into this new house and it's haunted. And I don't know what to do. And I need something right now. And so it was like, so, you want to be able to be like, here you go, and help all of the people that come in.
Follow me to the exorcism room.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't have that, but, we gave her some sage and some,
Sure.
protection crystals and talked to her and calmed her down.
Yeah.
So, and then the Miss Burton story was so nice, of remembering her. And this one guy it was during COVID. The door was locked.
Yeah.
And no one was really in town. I mean, I can't remember. I don't think we were open yet, but, he knocked on the door and I'm in there and I'm a woman alone. So you're always like, what do you want?
Yeah.
So I let him in and he said, I'm looking for a watch. He's like, can you repair my watch? And I'm like, oh, no. I said, there's a jeweler across the street in Eric. You should go and see him because he's great and he repairs stuff. And so he started looking around the shop and he's like, all right, thanks. And I said, just go over there. I said, I don't know if he's there or not because he might be closed. And I can't remember what we said to each other, but I gave him a hug and we both burst into tears, like sobbing because it was the COVID, it was just like, what's happening? And it was just this moment of like these two strangers. And he said, thank you so much. And I'm like, thank you so much. And I never saw him again. And he never came back in. And it was the weirdest thing, but it was, I don't know.
I'm gonna go. I gotta ask this question.
Okay.
I have to ask. And my brother understands why I have to ask this question. Do you think it was a spirit?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. He was from like Orange or West Orange or South Orange, one of the
That's a long
oranges.
way to travel for a
He
hug.
he wasn't. Yeah, but it was just so. It was one of those. I don't want to say like serendipitous
Sure,
moments, but
sure.
like the the uncertainty of what was going on in the world and will we ever be able to interact with people again. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
And here we are, it's COVID, and I'm like, we're hugging it
Yeah.
out. Like, it was so crazy. But anyway.
Okay, so again, the Rock Box is on the block. So if anybody's interested, contact Kelly and she will give you all the information that you need. So from this, we are going to transition it over to our 5 simple questions. So I hope you're ready for this. I hope we don't make you cry. They're very simple questions, okay? Nothing,
Okay.
like I told you, these aren't Barbara Walter type of questions. Nothing I got you. We're not gonna, just very, very, top level. Nothing. We don't drill down too far. So,
Yeah.
what do you think? Growing up in Morristown for as long as you lived here, is there one business or businesses uh, that you miss that are no longer around?
Yes. I loved International Pottery
Okay.
when I was young. I loved that store. I loved Lobel's. I loved
All
Goffins.
right.
Barry. And then I met Barry, and I was like, Barry, you were like my retail guru
My
guy. Anyway,
my my brother
go
was one
ahead.
of the sponsors for
Yeah,
Lobels.
Lobels. You know what? Listen, it's the old. Listen, all right. You know what?
Between Lobels and Epstein's,
Yeah. Listen,
we lived out of those stores.
listen, listen,
Yes,
listen.
yes. And I walked there every
Listen,
day
I was
on
not.
my way
I by
home.
no means was I a small child. Okay.
None
And
of us kind of
listen,
were.
listen. My mother laughs, but at a year old, I was like 34 pounds. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like I was like a 4T at a year old, okay? So
Oh
if
my
when you went
god.
downstairs to Lobel's, they had the hut.
Oh
They
yeah.
listen to you. Yo, yeah, I remember you. Thanks. And and I was like, what was the kid's name from Little Rascals? Chubsy Wubsy. So
Oh,
so my mother, they had the husky section, so I had to.
Spanky. Wasn't his name
No, it's
Spanky?
Chubsy Wubsy, but not. There's a
Oh,
separate character. But anyways,
Yeah.
so why Lobel's? That's kind of interesting. What were you buying from
Yeah, I was going to
Lobel's?
say.
college. I don't know.
Okay,
I would
The Jodo gift shop. By the way,
the
the
Jodo gift
recovery
shop. Yeah,
room. I miss the recovery room.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, and I miss Danny's pub. Remember, it was called Leprechaun
Leprechaun.
because
Yes.
we would. I was working at Bennigan's, and then we would go to the Lep to drink
but
afterwards.
that I don't think that place ever closed. Like
No.
it was almost
At
Danny's.
night, yeah, they would just like close the
The shades.
thing on the
Yeah,
door.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw that guy, the guy who owned it, not that long ago, like in Whole Foods or something. And I was like, yeah, still,
Yeah.
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 it's funny.
So I know you talked about while you're in high school, you'd work, but when you did have a chance to go out while in high school, where would you go?
In high
Yeah.
school, I mean, like at night,
Yeah,
or
like
like
when you
what do you
go
mean?
hang out with friends, like did you
In high school, we were probably just going to people's houses
okay. Did you
or
did
like
you throw any crazy
the
parties?
woods. I did not, but I remember Mark North. We were freshmen, and Mark North had a party.
Yeah.
And he lived behind Thomas Jefferson.
Okay.
Do you guys remember that party? Everybody remembers that party. And his mother was away, and he, like the whole, that's when the whole school shows up, and people from, Drew is showing up,
Uh-huh.
and they stole everything in his house. Like all of his mother's jewelry. They walked out with his TV, his VCR. It was like the craziest thing.
Really?
And and then that guy just like disappeared. I don't know where he lives. But yeah, and I will never forget that party. That was like I thought the saddest thing ever.
So I think
I never wanted to be in that situation.
yeah, I think we should stop talking about that because I'm sure it's still under litigation. Um,
Maybe. Maybe.
they never found the thieves there. Did you ever?
Yeah, and by the way, there was no cameras then.
Of
So
course, of course. So growing up in town, did you have a favorite place to eat? Is your favorite place still around?
I had two favorite
Okay,
places. The filling
the
station,
filling station, sure.
and I love say cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, say it.
Um,
Say it.
Did you?
like a restaurant or like a
Did you?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. We'll walk you down this road. Did you go off campus
okay.
during lunch?
Oh, to
There you
Susanville?
go. There you go.
By the way, he
Unbroken
lives.
record.
Yeah,
Every person we've had on the show,
says it.
we've asked that
Well,
question.
by the way, he lives on the other side of my driveway.
Oh,
Who,
he's your
Sal?
neighbor.
Mhm.
Oh, look at
Well,
that.
if you talk to him, tell him we'd love to have him on.
Yeah.
I never see him. I never see him.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, that is a good way to ask that. That's a better way to
Yeah.
ask that question. When you went off campus, where did you go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that was obviously the staple.
Of
That
course.
that was a 4 or 5 day a week
Exactly.
trip to
Yeah. We
Susanville.
basically,
Yeah.
your neighbor, you're responsible for building that house next door.
Exactly.
You
The
should go over
clubhouse.
there and you should be like, this gutter, that's me. I own this gutter, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
So do you have a favorite restaurant now?
Oh my gosh. Favorite
Yeah.
restaurant?
Is there a place that you guys
I love
Yeah.
Leah. I love Leah so much. So I have to say South and Pine is right around the top of my list. I mean, there's so many good
Yeah.
places. I think Enzo's is right across the street from my
Yeah.
store. I think they do a fabulous job for pizza. And then we just had the Caniglio's just got that rave review from Dave
Partner,
yesterday or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, and Morris Pizzeria, also my neighbor. By the way, the new Indian place across from me.
Yeah.
I've been going to Mendy ever since it was no longer Bennigan's.
Yeah.
And that has been great. And then we just tried the place across the street, which is the Shocker place or whatever. So that's really
Yeah.
good. I don't know. End of Dialogue Paul. I don't know. We have a lot. Oh, the Artist Baker. That's like my staple right there.
We would see. That's why we don't live in town anymore. We would die.
Dead.
There's a lot of choices.
Yeah, there's a lot more choices than
like tonight. Because last night we ate Aiku, and tonight I'm like my daughter. I'm like, what do we get tonight? And she's like, Central Taqueria. Yes.
There's definitely a lot more choices than what there used to be growing up.
Yes.
Lot.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, remember what was the place down by the art? It used to be by the Morristown Diner next door. It used to be the tequila place. It was called with the little baked wagon wheels. Cutters.
Yes. So as we look, if you still want Cutters pizza, go over to Varilli's and go see Christy. She's your classmate.
Oh, yes.
She, they made all the dough for Cutters. So just go in there, get some dough.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know
we
that.
We had
listen.
her on. That was a phenomenal episode.
Listen, you go there.
I love her.
Tell her if you go in there. Tell her that Peter sent you.
Yeah.
Okay. You'll see on her wall. I gave her a certificate last week that she was the most viewed episode in the first 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one went through the roof.
Yeah. So go in there. They sell the pizza shells. Oh, and they'll get the sauce. You just add cheese, stick it in your oven, and you're good to go. It's
my mother has been going there since she was a child.
Really?
That's like Burley's has done there. Like I went all growing up. Like when my mom went back in, sounds like our first date.
Well, I hope.
Like,
go
get a
well, the bakery did open up in 1898, so it kind of.
So it's been around.
It's been around for a little bit.
Yeah.
So we have 2 questions left. The next question.
How am I doing?
You're doing great. There's no right or wrong answer.
You're acing the test.
So going back to high school, is there any one or two teachers that you remember?
Mr. Butler.
Oh, yeah.
I loved him, and because I lived in Morristown, I would see him all the time. My mother had him as a teacher as
Wow.
well,
That's awesome.
Okay.
which is funny.
When
I
did your
remember
mom graduate?
64, 66,
Okay.
one of those two.
Okay.
I know it's an odd
What was
number.
so people know who watched this? What's your mom's first name? What
My mom's first name is Madeline, and her maiden name was Cassidy. So there's
Cassidy.
9
Okay.
Cassidys. It's like a Monty, Manahan, Doyle,
Yeah.
Cassidy.
That's
Like
funny.
you know what I mean. It's like,
It's
and
like
by
the
the way,
fight.
Yeah.
yeah, and she grew up. She knew all them growing up. They grew up together too. So it's
Yeah. Yeah. And finally, so is there any other questions? Are there any other teachers, or is Mr. Butler it?
Mr. Butler's great. I don't know, Mr. Roman. I was more of like an artistic,
Yeah.
creative. So
Sure.
I loved
Sure.
all of those shop classes,
Sure.
art classes. What was that art teacher's name? Who was so great? I can't remember the name, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Whatever.
you're good. You're good. Those the ones, like I said, the names you just mentioned are, it's funny when we ask this question from a lot of the former grads, the teachers that are remembered are pretty consistent,
Yeah.
um, which the ones you've mentioned have been mentioned before, which I think speaks to the caliber of teacher and how they impacted their students.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
so and it's um pretty impressive that here you are, 35 years after, 37 years from graduation, and they still are with you. you know
yeah.
that's a sign of a good teacher. Finally, my
And I saw Mr. Butler not too long before he
uh
passed at King's, and I was like, oh my god! I mean, it was just so nice
yeah,
to see him.
yeah. So with a planned almost move to Florida now, what do you think you'll miss most about Morristown?
I mean, I think if you grew up here and went to high school here, I just, I think it's somehow very different from other places. Like, maybe it's the same, but, we grew up just so, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just such a inclusive community, maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, you're so kind of proud to be from here, and your friends, and like, if you don't see like you Terry, I'm sure will come back to Morristown and run into somebody from high school on the street, and you're like, oh my god, it's just
yeah.
like you saw them yesterday,
Yeah.
and like,
Well, usually when
yeah,
my brother comes back, he's usually in a food coma for about 3 to 4 days. And then usually when he comes out of that coma, if he sees somebody great, at least he knows his belly is filled. That's the priority. How many restaurants can we hit before I go back west,
But
yeah,
just that same vibe that um, we've sort of experienced with this podcast
Yeah.
is remarkable,
Yeah.
because that was the whole goal of doing this
Yeah.
pod. I'm sure my brother already told you to do this podcast is, we grew up there. What if we just talk to people?
Yeah.
You don't have to have gone to Morristown High School,
Yeah.
but the reality of it is, and quite honestly, we're looking for some people to beat up who went to like Morristown Beard and Del Barton, but
Yeah.
that's a side note.
Yeah.
But the connection and some of the things we've heard are exactly the same lines of
Yeah.
what you said,
It is,
Kelly. It's
and
remarkable.
I try to explain people that, we are many people, you still live there, so you live it and breathe it every day, but that there is a common thread that runs through all of us, and you pretty much summed it up in your comments on what it is. And like my brother said, it's what motivated me to start this, to be like, let's put it out there. So many people who have lived here have, no longer live in the area, but they still keep tabs or they have family members and they come back. And it's that need, I call it like a need, like an inner thirst to keep in touch with the community, because it is a very, very special place. It really is. And like you said, there's not a lot of places out there like this. And like you said, there's third generation, like Luke Darnell that we had a few weeks ago, who was class of '84, was third generation. Well, if Luke's mother ran the Terrell Dance studio there on DeHart,
Oh yeah.
his mother ran that. Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Luke's. If you haven't seen the episode, Luke is a actor and stuntman. He lives in Manhattan right now. He's also a musician.
Oh. Oh, cool.
So, but he was saying he's third generation, and it's like you, and that's why I love hearing like who your mom was, and she went. You basically walked the same footsteps as your mother did in a way. Even though it's a different generation, you kind of came across the same things. Because Morristown, as much as it's changed, it's remained the same as well. The green is
Oh
the
yeah.
green is still the green. South Street is still South Street. The facades may have changed, but it's still the same. Kings is still Kings. So
I think that also, when people go to college, I think most people make their friendships there, but there's something about your high school people from Morristown
sure,
that, you'll always like, it's just a connection that I don't know if that typically forms in other, like, I'm sure it does in places. I'm not saying
yeah,
it doesn't, but, it's just and then, half your class is on the police force, and, it's just like this whole little
yeah.
thing.
So something tells me you don't get tickets that often.
She belongs to the one of.
Just got my,
That's what happens when you belong to one of the 5 families of Morristown.
Yeah.
yeah. I just got my first ticket
Like a
a
speeding
couple
ticket?
weeks ago. Oh my gosh, it was a huge ticket. I'm not even going to talk about it. I had to get a lawyer, but
Oh, come on!
but that's never
So
happened to me before.
where was
And
this?
by the way, I was only going 85, so I
Where
wasn't
were you?
Where were you?
I was coming back from Penn State. My daughter
Yeah.
lives there, and we went for like a parent thing, and coming back there, it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I tried to avoid someone who was. It was a merge. I kind of went around
Yeah.
them because and then the cop was like right there, so I pulled over because I was like, oh, he's coming out for me because I just went around that guy, and he sped past me. I was like, and so I stayed there. So I was like, I didn't want him to be mad. I was thinking, I was like, and so he whipped around and came back, and I think he was mad that he blew past me. But anyway,
Was this in PA or New Jersey?
it was in PA.
Oh,
well, that's
so listen.
Oh my
There you
god!
go.
So listen.
It was so stressful.
All right, so listen. Do you want me to give you my best advice? Go to court, fight the ticket. Okay?
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plead it down, 85 and what? A 65?
85. Well, it was this one little corridor where it went down to 50 at this merge. So, and of course, that's
reckless driving.
So,
that's reckless driving.
But I just actually emailed my lawyer again, and I go, and not for nothing, I'm like, but we have 7 children. Do you know how much driving I do? Do you have any idea, like, the driving? And so I was like, the amount of miles.
Yeah.
Commensurate.
Well, if anybody's
People's Court,
I've never had a ticket before in my life.
Yeah, if anybody is watching who's an attorney who, perhaps has a New Jersey and PA law license and practices in, these type of violations, please contact Kelly at the Rock Box, or she'll be breaking rocks at the Pennsylvania Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia.
Yeah. If you know any judges in PA.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I would do? Just bring all your crystals to the court date. Just bring them with you,
Right.
see what happens.
I don't know. Then I think they'll be like, oh, she's a little weirdo. So
Have you been to
I
Pennsylvania?
don't know.
I was waiting for
Have you
that.
been to Pennsylvania? Listen,
They got that covered. They got that
listen,
covered.
especially if you were over by
Sure.
State Park over there, okay? You have all your teeth. They know you're from out of town, okay? You're good.
We're gonna get comments on
Listen,
Oh,
listen,
yeah.
our
I'm
nephew,
just
our
gonna
nephew,
stay silent.
listen, our nephew graduated from Penn State. So, I'm sure if he saw this, he'd get a little upset too. Because I'm
He's
sure,
like, well, that's true.
yeah,
That's probably true.
yeah, I'm surprised the sheriff didn't, or the deputy, if it was the sheriff's department, didn't come out and say, "You ain't from around these parts, are you?" Something like that.
That's what it felt
Yeah,
like. He didn't have to say
yeah,
it, but that's how I felt.
I know. Well, listen, Kelly, thanks for coming on the show. You've been a
Thanks for
wonderful
having me.
guest,
Yeah.
and we wish you the best of luck with the store. Hopefully, you'll get somebody to pick it up. And best of luck down in Florida. We're in Florida a lot, especially
That's what I was gonna say.
we're in
So,
Florida a lot. So by the time you move, if I'm down, let you know. We'll go up to Jupiter. We'll go to 1,000 North up there. So I don't know if have you been there, 1,000 North?
I haven't.
You're
But
in for a
I know
treat. And I'll let you pick up the tab there. It's like going to Oceans 44 in Scottsdale. And
Oh, okay. We're covered then.
yeah, we're covered then. I know. But again, Kelly, thank you so much. By the way, before we go, so people who don't know you by your married name, what is your maiden name in high school?
My maiden name was Cascaden. I guess it is Cascaden.
Tuscaden with a T?
C-
Oh, with a C.
C-U-S.
C, okay.
Cascaden.
Cascade.
And it was like always, no one could pronounce it, no one could spell it.
Yeah.
So when I got married, I became Kelly Swift, which was so easy that
Taylor's sister?
it became like, well, the other day I was checking into a hotel for my daughter's college graduation, and I put all my other kids' names on the room, and I was, Charlie, Mary Jane, Margaret. I'm like, if Taylor shows up, she can come in too.
Yeah.
And now it's Christmas.
Christmas, I know. That's just like
That's
it
the
almost
best.
sounds like a stage name. Good for your husband, like good.
And it is the best name, and it's the best because it makes people smile.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys were just doing,
Yeah.
and someone wanted to set me up, and I wasn't even divorced yet, and I was like, I said, what's his name? And she said, John Christmas. And I said,
Yeah.
I was like, that's
Yeah.
impossible.
And then,
I can't even
exactly.
do it.
And then you found out he had kids, and you're thinking, elves? Like, what's going on here?
Looks like we're working.
Yeah,
Looks like we're working.
Every time someone says a joke like that,
Yeah.
I tell he's like, I've heard him all.
Yeah, I'm sure he has. I'm sure he has. He didn't have a dog growing up. He had reindeers, something like that,
Right.
Got to take the reindeer out for a walk,
Yeah.
But listen, Kelly, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. And like we said, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
And if anybody wants to learn more about the Rock Box, buying the business, we'll have Kelly's emails down below so you can reach out to her or you can contact her directly through Facebook and DM her. So on behalf of Beyond the Green, that's Kelly. I'm Peter, and that's Terry. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care now.